Yeah. General Laura Richardson reminds me of Ted Bundy, who was a very personable guy, good-looking guy, and he was a serial killer. Here you have a fairly, decent-looking woman. She's a general for Southern Com, and she's trying to invite El Salvador and other Latin American and Central American countries into the car with her, with a come on, saying, come on in, I just want to talk. And when the person gets in, she'll commit egregious murder, essentially. What about the CIA hit squad sent down to El Salvador in the 1980s? What about the coups in Central America and Latin America for decades? She keeps saying that we just want to be your friend. We're friendly. We're partners. Trust us. We've always been your friend. We've always been here for you. And those are such egregious lies. And she's a snake. And she speaks with forked tongue. It is gross. It's absolutely gross. And to be here in El Salvador living with people that are friendly and lovely and God-fearing and Bitcoin-loving, and they're working hard. You think this schmata up there in Washington, D.C. with their big brass buttons and medals, and I'm going to go down there and be friends with them and steal all the lithium. It's gross. You should get a real job. You're disgusting. I'm ashamed. As an American, you made me vomit. Yeah, and next thing you know, it's rub the lotion on or it gets the hose again. This is a horror film with the American generals. The thing that struck me also was how she started it off by saying, South America, Latin America, Central America, their natural resources are off the chart, right? So here's the come on. Here's the sales pitch. Here's, the TV midnight advertising, General Laura Richardson. It's like, come on, it's off the charts, all these natural resources. Wink, wink. So we're our friends in our backyard, we're just gonna set up a little, military base. And we're gonna start stealing that stuff. On the Pentagon is, of course, Bitcoin is unconfiscatable. Mm-hmm. And El Salvador is rapidly putting reserves into Bitcoin, unconfiscatable Bitcoin. And they're doing so, and they'll continue to do so. So here you have this U.S. general, setting the stage for a hostile raid of Latin America, another one, or another massive hostile raid of some other country's resources, so Americans can continue to be, getting free stuff. And they're going to show up, and they'll show up, and they'll be like, give us all your stuff. And they'll be like, well, it's all on Bitcoin, and it's unconfiscatable. So tough luck, imperial colonizing jerks. Get lost, because we've got unconfiscatable Bitcoin.
But it's also deglobalization and de-dollarization, as I said. I mean, she referred to all of the oil in the region. And what she meant was Venezuela, which we have cut off from SWIFT, and being able to sell their oil. Same with Iran, same with Russia. So we're cutting off all the oil supplies, which back our dollar, which therefore is destroying the dollar. And then you seize those reserves from Russia. It's just the serial killer is losing their mind. This is the point where Ted Bundy got caught. When he starts to all the bodies and the corpses and the fake arm casts are starting to pile up, and he's can't remember whose arm cast is that on the floor? Am I the killer?
Yeah, the Son of Sam serial killer comes to mind. Eventually all these serial killers, they get caught.
Yeah.
And because the trophies that they accumulate because they're egos. Remember, the American serial killing generals are egomaniacs first. And so they like to get their little trophies, but that always ends up working against them. And this could be that time when we have a complete failure by the Pentagon to take over in Central America and walk away with free stuff because of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is the savior, and El Salvador is the savior. And you put two saviors together and you end up pushing aside, no matter how many battleships show up, you get schmata, you get nothing. Hey, all right, so Stacy and I have moved to El Salvador, where President Bukele made Bitcoin legal tender September 7th of 2021. It's not even been a year. The mainstream media calls the Bitcoin project a failure. What are your impressions as a Bitcoiner in terms of what metrics even matter? Is it merchant adoption, or is it having a lot of that FU money that empowers the president to tell the IMF to stick their toxic debt up their ass? That's what it says right here. Yeah, the fiat model is consumptive in a lot of ways, and that's a huge problem. Now, President Bukele calls Bitcoin policy a policy of economic liberty. No other leader in the world claims this as their governance model. Do you think this is Enlightenment 2.0, like a better version of the U.S. Constitution as a national organizing structure? I mean, you can tie it into your book, The Uncommunist Manifesto, right? I mean, he's now made Bitcoin the model, and the entire country is following the ethos of Bitcoin, which entails a lot. Your thoughts? So, in other words, within the model of economic liberty, as you know and often write about in your new book, The Uncommunist Manifesto, and on your various blogs and the writings that you do for Bitcoin Magazine and elsewhere, it's all very great stuff. So the ideas that you're suggesting to a country like El Salvador, you're saying they're already ticking those boxes to move away from the Communist Manifesto. And what in particular, if you could name one or two things that they should, really emphasize now or think about now or continue to do that they're doing. Right. So 1 year later from making Bitcoin legal tender in El Salvador, not a single shitcoin, other than, of course, the U.S. dollar is on the balance sheet of El Salvador. There has been an attempt by a few to kind of get in there, but they were rejected. Some folks actually tossed out of the country. Your thoughts on how the complete collapse of the latest round of DeFi, metaverse, and NFT scams are unwinding? Maybe I should put my asbestos sweatsuit on here. I have a feeling this is going to get gnarly. Go ahead, Alex. To come in, because since I am the bishop of Bitcoin and channeled Satoshi's spirit directly, I glow. And when the shitcoins arrive, they melt.
I love you, Max.
And then Stacy stares with the laser eyes, and they quiver and die in a heap on the floor. And some of them have actually been totally disintegrated. So we're using the Satoshi power. If you're a Bitcoiner, when you go to El Salvador, your natural Satoshi power is magnified by 1,000x. It's a superpower. You become a superhero. So I look forward to seeing you there, and join us in the superpower Ninja Turtles as we fight the shitcoiners in El Salvador. But nevertheless, these DeFi NFT scams, they are it was so easy to predict. Like Corey Clipston, was just laying it all out a year ago, 6 months ago, and like, this is what's going to happen. This is going to collapse. It's not hard. Why is this being allowed to happen? Why is the SEC and these other people, why do they just let everybody lose their money in these obvious scams? Look, I'm all for free markets, but we have psychopaths in our society, and they would sell cyanide willfully and to kill a lot of people. That's why when you go to the store, sometimes there's a skull and crossbone. It says, this is poison. Do not drink this. And that the government does that. The government helps keep the psychopaths from trying to sell a cyanide. Now, in the case of Ethereum, it is the equivalent of rat poison. It is cyanide. It is something that'll kill people, and consumers should be protected from this. It's not about free market. Ethereum is not a product that's competing with anything. It's just a poison that's trying to kill people. And there should be some awareness about this. And I think a lot of people would be served best as a result of it. Anyway, Alex Svetsky, the book is Uncommunist Manifesto. Thanks for being on Max and Stacy Report.